I'm Harley, or Classy Pollux, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a cosplayer from Melbourne who mostly focuses on high fantasy costumes and cosplays. In this video, I'm going to be making level 20 Fjord from Critical Role. In a few weeks from now, I think 5.5, the entire cast of Critical Role are coming to Australia to do a couple of live shows in Sydney and Melbourne. The cast will also be attending Sydney Supernova, which... oh my god. So I'm making a brand new costume to wear to the live show and the convention. I've been thinking about making this ever since I saw the level 24 design because he looks so cool. I love the tattoo, I love the little pirate fit, I love his hair. Oh, I am so excited to be making this. I have thought about it for so long that I think I'm ready to finally start doing it. I have broken down the pieces into my brain. They're up here, they're stored very safely, all of these pieces. And I have a rough idea of how I'm going to do everything, and I think I can execute it pretty decently. The plan is to make my own pattern for Fjord and potentially do some sort of mock-up, but the costume pieces themselves are pretty simple, and I do think they could be easily thrown together without pattern or mock-up. But I am going to do it for safety because I don't want to have to buy so many fabrics. But yeah, I sort of know what I'm doing, but I can't really explain it super well because I haven't started it yet, and I really need to see something before I truly comprehend what the hell is happening. I have no sketches, but I do have pictures of the designs and a bunch of references, so I think I'm ready to do this. Level 20 Fjord, you will be mine. But I'm taking things slow and making sure everything is done to a standard that I enjoy. So let's jump into the pattern slash mock-up and let's just do it. Let's sew. I have these two patterns that I'm gonna modify for the coat, and I'm calling it a skirt, but it's not a skirt. So, and the skirt. Coat and skirt. I just want to use like this part of the pattern, this one, but make it longer. And make the shoulders a little bit pointy. And that'll be it. So just using this pre-existing pattern to modify and make into my mock-up slash my pattern. Super easy, super simple, I've done it a million times before. So this is just the tails of a tailcoat, I'm pretty sure, from this pattern. I just didn't want to make a whole pattern by myself, so just modifying one that I already have is pretty easy to do. Ironing my calico and then cutting out the pattern pieces from that, plus adding some adjustments and extra length. Just super exciting stuff, really, just cutting out mock-up fabric and throwing it together. I did some minor tweaks to this. I didn't like how much it covered in the front. I want some of the underneath stuff to be visible still. I didn't want it to completely cover my entire waist. So I took it in just a little bit, but then wanted more length at the bottom, so I added more length there. I also did a quick mock-up of this pirate coat just to make sure that the pattern that I had fits me and that it sits exactly how I want it to. I took this in at the front because it would have also covered too much of the costume pieces underneath, and yeah, I was pretty happy with it otherwise. I just hit my head on my table and it hurt. Ow. Patterns and tiny mock-ups done, so tomorrow I'm going to cut out main fabric, and then I will need to get some wadding to do little triangles in the skirt. Easy stuff. See you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is a new day and I'm ready to get some sewing done. I'm happy with the fit, but I'm going to do a few tiny tweaks to the pirate coat because I think it's going to be a little bit too big. And I want it to be a tiny bit smaller, so I'm going to shrink the pattern down to a small or an extra small, potentially. My goal for today is to get the skirt base done and the coat base done. I have some fabrics and wadding coming today, so I'll probably be able to complete the skirt fully today, which is really exciting. But the coat, I'm waiting on some nice fabric to arrive, and that'll probably be here by the end of the week. So the skirt will have wadding because I wanted to make the diamond pattern stick out a little bit more. I don't think it needed wadding. I probably could have just done it with a thick thread. So yeah, I guess let's jump straight into it because I have a bunch of ironing to do and then a bunch of sewing to do. And my fabric should be here in like an hour, so let's do it! I should say, I have two different teal fabrics and I really don't know why, but this one's for the skirt and this one's for the coat. They are the teeniest, tiniest bit different,
And that's totally okay with me because in the character reference they are a teeny tiny bit different also. And I'm hoping that having the two different fabric colours will help the pieces stand out separately rather than blending together once I put them on. So I guess there is a reason. Anyway, let's iron. Actually pre-ironing my fabric, I sometimes forget to do this step. So sorry, real seamstresses. I even remembered to add a seam allowance to this one, which is crazy, I always forget. I think I just added a 1cm seam allowance around the whole edge. Cutting out my near identical teal fabrics, but they're different teals. So they're different, I guess. They look the same. So all of my fabrics arrived and I can kind of start working on everything. But I did forget to order thread in the right color that I needed. So, oops. It is too late for me to go now because by the time I get anywhere they'll be closed. So tomorrow I will go and buy thread that matches the fabrics that I have. Good job. Big brain up here. But I am going to start working on the pants. I am going to use these pants from this Napoleon costume because they're simple, they're not all the way down to the ankle, they fall just below the knee, which is exactly where I want pants to sit because the boots are going to come up anyway. And then they'll be nice and form-fitting and they won't have a front zipper, the zipper's on the side, and that'll be fine because it'll be covered by the coat, the skirt, and the belts, so you won't see that zipper at all. But I will do an invisible zipper there just because it makes more sense. And I really wanted to do form-fitting pants because they look a lot nicer. I'm gonna make those. Maybe get them done today. Who knows if I'll actually get them done though, because I never know how long it takes me to make pants. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 5, so we'll see. More cutting out of pattern pieces, yay. But this is actually the real fabric that I'm going to use because I didn't need to do a mock-up for pants because I was pretty confident that these would turn out exactly how I wanted them to. And they did, so yeah, no mock-up needed for these pants that I'd never made before, by the way. So maybe I am good at sewing, you guys. And I very correctly and professionally installed an invisible zipper, and it actually is very invisible. I think it's the most invisible an invisible zipper has ever been for me. How many times can I say invisible zipper? Invisible zipper. Anyway, yeah, I did hand-baste down the zipper to make sure it sat flat before sewing it down completely, which is what you're supposed to do, I think. I could be making that up though, don't take my word for it. But yeah, the zipper was pretty perfect actually. Good job me. Great job on the zipper. 10 out of 10. Okay, that's what I call it for the evening. The pants are almost done, I just have to do waistband. This is them. They have an invisible zipper. And I was thinking as I put them on that I probably didn't need to make a pair of black pants and I could have just used a pair that I own. But we're here now, so I'm going to use them anyway. But I didn't put pockets in it, so... whoops. Okay, good morning everyone. All of my fabrics are here. I have all of the correct thread, probably. So I'm ready to just kind of smash all of this out and see how much I can get done. My goal for today is going to be finish off the pants and maybe finish off the skirt because I have the wadding here ready to do like the quilting. Diamonds. And so pants and skirt should be done today. And then I'll cut out the lining fabric for the coat and those will be the things that I'll do today. I interfaced the waistband off camera, but I've done that a million times before as well. You've seen it before. It's nothing interesting. And then yeah, pinned the waistband to the pants and sewed it all down. Very nicely, very neatly. Definitely left enough space. Pants done. I messed up the top a little bit by not leaving enough space to add a button. Maybe I am good at sewing, you guys. Oh well, I'll figure something else out. And the little cuffs at the bottom have ties so that they're more fitted. Or something. Anyway, I haven't tried them on yet, but I'm sure they're fine. One part of this costume done. Let's move on to the skirt. So the lining has been cut for the skirt. Now I'm going to draw some diamond patterns into those panel pieces. Then I will cut out the wadding and put that underneath and then stitch it over the top. You'll be able to see the stitches, which is totally fine and is definitely the look that I'm going for. That's what's happening. I'm thinking 10 centimeters between each line. I'll test that out and see what happens. Okay, let's friggin' jump into drawing diamonds. I originally drew like half of these diamonds on the underside of this, but then realized that I was going to put wadding there and you wouldn't be able to see those lines. I wouldn't be able to see those lines when I was sewing like a fool, and so I had to redo all of it. That's just me being silly, and I should have known not to do that, but I drew these diamond shapes to then sew over the top of them later, and honestly I shouldn't have used this chalk because it took so long to get it off. Look at the pretty diamonds and not triangles. I never said triangles. Who said that? Also, why the hell did I buy such a huge thing of wadding? What am I gonna do with all that? I needed just a tiny bit. What the hell is wrong with me? Why'd I get a whole thing?
Hello, I kind of just stopped sewing yesterday because I had to go make dinner, and then I was like, man, that's it for me. I haven't started quilting yet, and I will do that today, right now. So it's really exciting that there's 2 pieces almost done, and I still have so much time to do this. That's crazy. Okay, so these kind of done. I think I thread matched too hard and the diamonds kind of blend into the fabric, but I was thinking that I could paint over the thread with some 1 or 2 shades darker than this teal and paint on the lines, because I think that'll look extra nice and fancy and it'll show off these shapes a little bit more. You can totally see it in person. They stick out a lot and it looks good. I do have a teeny tiny bit of chalk markings on it, so I've just basted all of the edges, and I'm gonna chuck these pieces in the wash. And then I also forgot that I needed to do the trims along those pieces, you know? I've just gone through my trim stash and I have plenty, and so once they're dry I will paint and then add the trim. I also have messaged my friend Maddie, and she's gonna make all of the iron-on pieces for me. I have vinyl that I'm gonna take to her house, and she's gonna make the cricket designs, and we're gonna use her cricket and cut it out. So I unfortunately can't finish any of the coat pieces yet because I want it to be flat when I do all of that ironing. Doing fun stuff of mixing paint to be the right color, I did also mix this with a little bit of fabric medium so that it sticks to fabric and doesn't wash off completely. So it's 1 part acrylic paint, 1 part fabric medium. I sometimes hate working with fabric medium because it makes paints really sticky. It was very difficult to get out. It actually didn't come out at all because it's fabric medium, so whoops. This part is kind of hidden underneath everything, so you can't really tell with the finished piece, but I was still upset about it. I'm still upset about it. What the hell? They're not symmetrical. I literally don't care. They don't match up. Whatever. Today I'm going to work on making the gloves. I have some jersey fabric in not the exact same color, but a similar teal that I'm going to make stretch gloves out of. And then I will do the trim around the edges of the skirt, and then I will finish up the skirt piece, and it'll all be done. And that's my plan. Yes, making gloves. I've kept these little things of my hands, so whenever I need to make gloves I can just use that instead of tracing my hand every single time. I think that's pretty smart and epic of me. When sewing gloves, you just sew everything down before cutting it all out to make sure everything is the exact right size and it fits perfectly. I also didn't use stretch thread when I first sewed these, so they did eventually break, but I did fix them with stretch thread. Make sure you use stretch thread when making gloves. Stretch thread, stretch thread, stretch thread. Why was that a tongue twister? What the hell? But they came out pretty perfect, apart from not using stretch thread. I hand sewed little snap closures to this because I really like snap closures. And I did all the gold trim off camera. I'm so sorry, but it's just a ribbon and some gold trim that I had on hand. Shirt sewing time. I did use a pirate shirt pattern for this. Just had ruffles and a collar, no sleeves. So it was just 3 rectangles really. Well, it was more than 3 rectangles if you count all of the bias and the collar. 3 main body rectangles, I guess. I finished the sleeves with just little bias tape caps and then hemmed the shirt with a rolled hem. Even with this fancy little tool, why the hell bias tape takes so long to make? What's up with that? Then just a collar piece with interfacing in between to make it sturdier. Hello everyone, it is another day making a level 24 from Critical Role for Sydney Supernova and the live show. Today I'm going to finish off the shirt and then start patterning the armor and making as much of the armor as it is physically possible today. And then who knows from there, but that is the plan for right now. I feel like I keep making plans and then not sticking to them and not getting enough done that I want. I still have some time to do everything, so I'm not super stressed just yet, but I probably will be next week. And next weekend, my friends are helping me paint the bodysuit, so I kind of want to be done everything by next weekend. I feel like assembling the coat will be one of the final things that I do because of those cricket pieces. But, oh well, it is what it is. I am definitely going to get everything done. 100%.
I think the ruffles are my favorite part of this little shirt. I think it's really fun. I just love ruffles on a shirt. Look how fun it looks already. Whoa. And I did bias tape along all of those edges to finish those seams as well. So much bias tape on a shirt. It's kind of crazy. I also kind of wish that I had sewn it together down the bottom instead of leaving it completely open just so that it would sit better, because I kind of tuck it into my pants a little bit.
Good morning, friends. It is a new day. A day of craft. It is raining and cold and miserable. I hate it. Heat it on full blast. Still cold. A disaster. But we must persevere. And so today I'm going to be working on all of the armor pieces for Fjord. He's got like leather shoulder armor, and then he has some arm armor also that go over the top of the gloves. So I'll be patterning both of those today and hopefully getting them mostly done.
I made up a little pattern for these cuffs. I just completely freehanded it and then adjusted the size and tested it against my arm to make sure it was the correct size that I wanted it. This was super quick and didn't take very long. I cut this out of a very thin piece of foam first because I wanted it to be a little bit more structured and hold its shape better than just fabric would, so cutting it out of foam first to make sure it holds its shape. I then cut these same shapes out of matching teal fabric, and I used a generous seam allowance so that I was able to fold these edges to the underside of the foam so they're completely hidden and tucked away. And this is me patterning the leg armor. I put the boot on and then wrapped it all in Glad wrap, and then did masking tape. I would usually use duct tape, but I didn't have any on hand and didn't want to go get duct tape for this, so I used masking tape. And then drew what I wanted the shapes to be on top of the masking tape, and then tediously cut out the masking tape pattern without cutting the boot, which was kind of hard actually. And then ta-da, leg armor pattern. I adjusted the shapes a little bit before completely cutting all of this out, just so it would be easier to keep track of. Then I transferred this little masking tape pattern to a bit of pattern paper to make sure I didn't lose any of the shapes, and I adjusted them just a little bit and made them straighter with a ruler because they were very messy, squiggly lines. I used a spray adhesive glue to stick the fabric to the foam because this just seemed like the easiest and cleanest way to do this. And it worked really well. There was no bubbling, so I think this was perfect. Then I glued these edges down on the underside, obviously, so there was no raw edges visible, and it looked really clean and neat, and this worked wonders. It looks excellent, actually. And then off camera I added all of these gold details, so sorry.
Good morning, friends. I am not in my house right now. I'm house sitting for my friend Rachel, but today I have a bunch of people coming over and they're going to help me paint my Fjord bodysuit. So that's what we're doing today, and I might set up and film like a little time lapse because I'll be in the bodysuit and they'll just be painting it. So it'll be heaps of fun.
And here are my wonderful friends being forced to paint me whilst I wear this bodysuit because it would have been really impossible for me to paint it myself because I don't have any of the means to do that, so they kindly offered to do it for me.
Hello, I'm back in my house and it is time to get hustle grinding for level 20 Fjord. I did dye the shoes with teal leather dye and covered my hands in it. Oops. And also got dye basically everywhere. So, double oops. But the shoes are done. I just have to make the leather straps, but I'm gonna wait until much later tonight because those shoes are not dry. I did it last night and they need 24 hours to fully dry. So I'm gonna leave them a little bit longer than 24 hours just to make sure it's all covered. And Maddie finished those little cricket designs and we cut them out of her house. And so they're ready to go. I just need to weed them and then iron them on to the piece. But I might take in the jacket just a little bit because I think it is still a bit too wide and it's going to cover the whole bodysuit and I only want it to cover a little bit of the bodysuit. And then I have to finish making the armor on the arms, the armbands. I have to do some leather straps for that. I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can get everything done and we'll be set. And I will be so prepared and everything will be ready and finished today. If I manifest it, it'll come true. So I'm gonna watch some Dimension 20, the new Cloudwood Hoe season, and I'm gonna lock in and sew. That's the plan. I don't know if I showed you guys the lining fabric that I'm gonna be using for the coat. It's this. It's freaking beautiful. I'm so excited to use it, and I'm hoping that I have enough.
I did have to adjust this coat pattern because the really pretty fabric was not wide enough to match up with the original sizes of the pieces, so I had to change it a little bit. So I ended up splitting the lining into a top half and a bottom half, and the top half was just regular plain teal fabric that I had left over, and then the bottom half is that pretty fabric because I didn't have enough to do the whole thing in this fabric. And then the bottom is in 4 pieces, and it makes the seams look a little bit messy, but it's okay, it works, and I get to use this pretty fabric that matches the design. And to finish off this coat, I used this gold ribbon that I had as sort of bias tape, and this gold ribbon I've used previously in other pieces from this project. But this time I'm actually showing me using it, instead of just saying, oh, I did it off camera, so you're welcome. Weeding cricket designs is my least favorite part of any project. Huge thank you to my friend Maddie, aka Kitten Spike, for making these designs for me and letting me come over and cut them out with some vinyl. It was super helpful. I'm so grateful that I'm able to just be like, hey, can you please do this for me? And she'll do it. And it turned out so great. These are such beautiful little designs, and they match perfectly to the character's design. I am nowhere near done, so tomorrow is going to be an absolutely insane day. I'm probably going to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and finish off this coat, because it is not done yet, and I really wanted it to be like a couple hours ago, so... Adjusting the collar because I did forget that I shrunk my pattern down just a little bit, and using that same gold ribbon as bias tape around the edge of the collar to match the rest of my pieces. Some more of those cricket pieces for the edge of the coat. I did have to trim them down just a tiny bit to line up with the edges perfectly, but it turned out pretty great. Peeling this backing was actually so satisfying. These designs came off so easily, I love it. Wait, even more Maddie Cricket designs, oh my gosh. One of them caused me a little bit of grief, but it's okay, you can't tell. Nobody will ever know. And yeah, look at how pretty it is. The golds don't match super perfectly, but I would say that they're pretty close. And I think it looks excellent. And this is me crunching away at Ty's house to get all of those leather bits done on time. And I did, so go me, but it took longer than I thought it would. I went to the Critical Role live show last night and I wore my little costume. And it is not finished and I'm still working on it at Ty's house. And instead of 1 day, it has been 3. So this is it so far. I just have to sew these pieces and glue some stuff down. Okay, this criminal wants to drink out of my water glass again. Okay, so I am back at Rachel's house, back to house sitting. I got no videos, no photos, no nothing at Sydney Supernova because I was stuck in the lines waiting to meet all of Critical Role all day. And then by the time that was done, I was hot, I was sweaty, I was tired, I was hungry, and so I was like, I'm getting the hell out of here and I'm eating food. So I took everything off and went and got food. So I got no footage, nothing, because I was literally in a hole all day. And I think anyone that was there can confirm that it was chaotic there. But it was very fun and totally worth it. They were so excited to see my costume and it was the sweetest thing in the world. I did it, I'm green. Well, it's kind of blue, but you know. Here's some clips of me putting everything on and also some clips of things I didn't show the making of, such as this brown leather belt. I didn't have time to show some of these things because I was so completely rushed. So we have this leather belt that I just cut out in a curved shape. We have this red belt, which is just a tubing of red. Then I added some fabric. Nothing fancy about this, it's just a rectangle tied onto that hoop. I bought that black belt with some holes in it because I thought it matched perfectly. Here's the fully completed coat, and then we have the leather armor that I made. It's not attached super well and it needs some adjustments, but it's totally fine. Gloves, we saw the making of those, and then the armbands. I didn't show the making of the leather attachments, sorry. And here is the whole look. It looks so fancy and I'm obsessed with it. No contacts in because I value my sight over my costume, so this is what we get. Yeah, I think this turned out super great. There are definitely some things that I would have done differently if I decided not to kind of rush the last parts of this. And I did do the boots, but I dyed them teal. The dye is not sticking, and so I'm gonna have to go back and fix them. So I'm not wearing them tonight, I'm gonna wear some regular black shoes because last time I wore them, mine got dye a little bit all over the place and it's all really bad. I also did do the leg armor, it is on the table. I won't be wearing it over the black boots because I cannot be bothered with all of that. It's too much right now, but I did wear it on Saturday when I wore this to Supernova. So I also finished this up at Ty's house. This one's kind of floppy, and I'll figure something out later, but right now it's fine. Yeah, I did make 2 of these, but I just can't be bothered putting the other one on right now because I will take them off to dry. Yeah, they have leather straps. It's on and off raining. Oh my god, no, it's hailing right now. Guys, it's hailing. This is fucked up. It's freaking hailing! Yeah, the lining is super nice. And I did gold trim all of this with a ribbon. Anyway, I'm super happy with how this turned out. It's freaking cool as hell. And hopefully I get some photos with some critters tonight and stuff, and it'll be lots of fun. Also, this bodysuit came out so cool. Thank you to Joe, Ty, and Elaine for painting me in it. I wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. I guess this is the end of the video because I did it. I did the thing. I did it. Anyway, I think this looks so cool. I'm so happy with how it turned out. And I'm so shocked that I got it done in time. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around through this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you watch all of my future videos. But yeah, thanks so much for sticking around, and I'll see you all in another video. Goodbye. Oh, ignore my thumb. These gloves are broken. Goodbye. And here are a couple of bonus pictures just to show off the teal boots that I dyed and the leather leg armor that I made, and so you guys can see the whole completed look together. I think it turned out super great, and I'm super happy with all of it.